It was a typical morning when I first noticed something was off. The usual peace and quiet of my property, nestled in the corner of the neighborhood, had been replaced by the sound of chainsaws. I rushed outside, and there on my front lawn were the workers, the HOA's workers, cutting down my trees, without warning, without permission, and without any notice. My heart sank as I watched them destroy what I had spent years cultivating. These trees weren't just ornamental. They were my privacy, my sanctuary, the last remnants of the natural beauty I had always cherished. I had never received a single notice from the HOA, and I couldn't understand why they felt it was their right to chop down my trees. I stormed over to the workers, demanding to know why they were on my property. The foreman, clearly unfazed, merely shrugged and said, "Orders from the HOA." They said these trees were a violation of some rule. I couldn't believe it. They had no legal right to do this, no proper communication, and certainly no respect for my property. I snapped a few photos of the destruction, knowing I had to get to the bottom of this. Within hours, I called the HOA, and their response was as predictable as it was frustrating. The trees were obstructing the view. The HOA president told me casually, "We've been talking about this for months. They were a hazard." A hazard? To whom? They were my trees, and I had kept them well maintained for years. This wasn't about safety, it was about control. I hung up, seething with rage, and immediately filed a formal complaint. 2 days later, something unexpected happened. The dry, hot weather combined with the absence of the trees left my property vulnerable. A fire started in the woods nearby, and before long, the flames had spread, tearing through the neighborhood. As I stood on my porch watching the chaos unfold, I couldn't help but feel a sense of grim satisfaction. The very HOA that had stripped me of my trees now found themselves at the mercy of the flames, desperately trying to save their precious community. Fire trucks arrived, and chaos ensued as the fire spread rapidly. The HOA officials, their faces a mix of disbelief and panic, were scrambling to manage the situation, but their control was gone. The flames were relentless, and no amount of regulation could stop them now. The irony wasn't lost on me. They had stolen my trees, but the fire didn't care about their rules. In the end, the HOA learned a hard lesson. You can't control nature, and you can't take someone's peace of mind without consequences. The fire didn't destroy my home, but it did destroy their sense of authority. As the smoke cleared, I watched them retreat, their power shattered, knowing that I had won in the most unexpected way.